PanelsOnPages.com, and welcome back to the Toy Box. Last time we looked at the original Megazords collection, the Power Zords, if you will. 20th anniversary of Power Rangers just happened. That's kind of nuts, man. And shortened out, whatever. We laughed when that came out, and so Power Rangers had been off my radar for quite some time until fairly recently when I went up going down this horrible rabbit hole of YouTube videos and discovered the Samurai Zords. I don't know, something about them captured my imagination in ways that they hadn't been in a long time. I don't know if it was their colors or their overall design or what, but I just ended up really kind of falling in love with these crazy Zords, and especially how they all pegged apart and pegged together, and that sort of was their benchmark as the Zord builder system, as it were. I just really liked it, and so I began this ridiculous, well, I'll just get the Megazord and try it out. And I was like, well, I gotta get the Claw Zord and put that on there. And then, oh, well, hell, if I find the little ones, I'll get the little ones. And then, I got the whole damn series, because that's what I do. I have a problem, as you may have noticed. So, let's take a look this week at the core Zords themselves, and then the next time we'll take a look at how they combine together. So let's go, without further ado, let's take a look at the Folding Zords, the Claw Zord, and the various Samurai Armament Zords as they were. And then, we can't forget the big guy, the Bull Megazord himself. So we'll look at those, and yeah, maybe you'll dig it. I can't lie. I dig the hell out of it, so maybe you'll like them too. Alright, these are the Samurai Zords from Power Rangers Samurai. These guys are going to combine to make the Samurai Megazord. They are meant to look like Japanese origami figures. You can kind of see here the way that they're sort of designed and folded out. And they're the Folding Zords, as they call them on the American show. You get your ape. He's very cute. The turtle, who is just adorable. You got your dragon. You got your bear. And the pretty cool looking lion. I like the lion a lot. It's pretty sweet. Like I said, they're the Folding Zords. They're all meant to fold down. And that's kind of the biggest flaw of them all, is that they don't. The turtle does, but only because it has to for transformation of the Megazord. Basically, they should all do this. Fold down to these sort of, basic shapes. Now, they do it on the show. They do it on the Japanese version of the toy, but they don't do it here, and it wouldn't be a big deal, except for the fact that it kind of is a big deal later. Where just the Megazord wouldn't be a big deal. It'd be like, oh, it'd be nice if they did that. Too bad they don't. But later on, as we'll see, especially the ape should do this. It should fold into the little triangular origami. It doesn't, and that sucks. And we'll see why as we get further into these discussions. Last little bit that these are sort of missing is, you can see, like, right here, you can see this molded line, and there should be another hinge here. So this piece should flop up and the head be up here, and this piece fold back. So it's more like a segmented, dragon type. So they took those joints out, made them very basic. And you can also see the same kind of, there's these molded detailings here that should be painted blue, but they are not. Just like the bear should have some bits on him that are painted green, and they're not. The lion has some red, because it's prominent in the Megazord mode, but these parts here should also be red. Imagine, you fold these back halves together, and you should have the rest of the fire symbol for the Red Ranger. The big honking sword can also be stored on the back of the dragon, but it looks really stupid, so why the hell would you do that? And what is sort of unique for this series of figures, these guys actually just straight up pegged together to form the Megazord. So real quick, we'll take a look at that. The helmet stores in the dragon, so that's kind of rad. So, no big deal for this guy together. Takes no time at all. Very simple, but I do kind of dig it. Hold that, turn the fist around, and then little ape, his face goes hidey-hidey, and there's the other arm right there, and the torso is the lion. Put together, fold it down, there you go, and the head flips up like so. So yeah, there's really nothing to it. It's very basic. It's sort of pegged together the limbs, and when you do that, you end up with the Samurai Megazord, and he looks pretty damn cool. And of course, how can we not forget the helmet? Can't forget the helmet. The helmet's kind of part of the package deal. It's part of it. But that is the Samurai Megazord in all of his glory. And he's really cool design, really cool detail. He's got that nice samurai armor look to him. I can definitely see what they're going for there. All in all, I would call the Samurai Megazord a pretty big success. You know, it's the first one that I saw, and the origami Zords alone were kind of enough to pique my interest. You know, and so for a second I'm like, you know what? Maybe this can be it. Maybe I can be satisfied. Sort of diving back in for a second. Let's have this cool Megazord because he's neat. Yeah, it's not really been on my radar for quite some time. But you know what the hell? Let's dive in. Let's check it out. Maybe I'll be satisfied. But I have what you might call an obsessive personality, so I was not able to have just one. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just get the next thing that combines with this, and then I'll be satisfied. Stupid, stupid man. But you know what? In my heart, I thought maybe I had a chance. The next guy was the Clawzord, and he is a goddamn lobster. That is a robot lobster, if ever I've seen one. And he is pretty cool. He's huge. Like, it's this giant... I never would have thought I'd want to purchase a giant gold, orange, and blue lobster. And yet, here I am. You see, he's got some really cool detailing at his face, and just the colors are really vibrant, and the gold really, really pops on this thing. And he has this really cool metallic shimmery sticker on the back for some detailing bits that come into play later. And he is just pretty damn rad. And these things move, and of course his pincher claws go, and okay, cool. So I got me a robot lobster. What good's a robot lobster? It's got to turn into something. It does. It turns into the Claw Megazord. And this is where the pull it apart, smash it together nature of the line really starts to take shape, and sort of down that rabbit hole I tended to fall down pretty intently. So, to that end, to transform him, you take a lot of stuff apart, but it's not too bad. But like this tail bit pegs right off. And you know, for the most part, he tends to stay kind of together. Unlike some of the ones we'll see in a little bit. But the head comes completely off, revealing the face below. Pull those up, and then the head splits in two to become swords, and stashes back here when not in use, which again, you know, kind of creates more of this awesome pokiness to the overall design. It contributes something, which is kind of nice. And then this bit pegs onto the back. Everything has a place, no matter how nutty it gets. And this thing gets nutty by the time it's over with. Everything does have somewhere to go. And that is to be applauded. So, there's your Claw Megazord. He retains the gimmick from the show, wherein the disc spins, and so reveals the different faces, which, you know, that does happen here. So you got, I have no idea which one is north, south, east, or west, but all the faces are present, which is kind of cool. And then, you know, so like, I know one of them, I think maybe it's the blue one, I don't know. One of the faces, he uses the tail bit as a weapon. So like it pegs in, the little notch right there, pegs into this oddly shaped fist hole. So you can reach like a fan, or like I said, the swords come off, and so, you know, whatever. That's that. So, okay, cool. I got the Clawzord. I got the Megazord. They make the Super Claw, I don't know what the hell they call it. I think they call it the Claw Armor Megazord. Maybe that's enough, but of course it's not enough, because I found the Octozord, and so I had to get the rest of the armaments, but we'll get to that in a minute. The last piece of the puzzle to come together, as we skip steps a little bit. The last step came in the form of the Bullzord. Bullzord, son. Bull Megazord. It's a beast. It looks awesome. It looks like a damn linebacker. Just stout and huge and powerful. Like, it looks really, really cool. Love it. Now, of course, the legs do absolutely nothing. The only way you can move this thing at all is move the arms up and down. In 2012, when I bought this, that's kind of bogus. You'd think that by now they'd figure something out. I mean, you can't even really defend it as being part of the transformation. Like, these legs could move. You know, they need to be stationary for, you know, parts later on, but they could move, you know, just something they locked into place. So that's kind of a bummer. Also a bummer is his transformation here. So to get, because you know this is the Bull Megazord. The Bull Zord itself, all you do is close his face, take these arms off from the pegs on the side, and just straight up peg him on his chest like this. Look at that. The gun can peg onto either side, so I'm just going to peg it over here for the hell of it. And then you lay him down like that. And that's supposed to be the Bull Zord. Because if you look very close, he's got like this bull head here. And so this is meant to evoke the look of a big red bull pulling a cart behind him. Like a cart and bull thing. It rolls really well. I mean, it does that part. It rolls really nice. But that doesn't work because the legs are permanently flayed out. Like, it just looks like a robot laying on its back because those legs don't go together. In the Japanese version, they don't come apart, so there's no, like, middle ground. And, you know, I guess in theory the Megazord's supposed to be able to ride this thing, but it's too small in this form. Like, I mean, that's supposed to be a thing you can do. Why would you want to do that? That looks really dumb. It's too big. The proportions are off. So, as a 2-mode toy, the Bull Megazord sucks big ones. But the overall design aesthetic of the Bull Megazord rocks big time. It looks really, really cool. So, that is the core sort of 3 Megazords. And together, you know, they don't do a whole lot together. So you got the Claw Armor Megazord, which we'll get to in the next video. But they don't do anything by themselves just together. But there's plenty more to look at when we get down into these little itty-bitty support Zords. Okay, to kick this off, we're going to take a look at the Octozord. Why is it called an Octozord? I can tell you, that's a squid, son. That is obviously a squid. Why the hell is it called the Octozord? Squids don't look like octopuses. The pointy thing makes him a squid. Come on now. Regardless, the Octozord began my journey down through the support Zords because at that time it was a hard one to find. He was very rare, hard to come by. So, like, you know, I'm not going to go out and buy a Tiger Zord because I know I'll never find the Octozord because distribution is really lousy. Well, then I found the Octozord. That means I had to get the rest of them, which drove me to the Bull Zord because if I can get this guy, if I could just find this, then that meant I could make the Samurai Gigazord. And that thing blew my mind when I saw it. I had to have it. So, this dude right here, he was the initial support Zord for me. And he looks pretty cool. He's got a neat design. A little, definitely less origami than the regular Samurai Zords. And you don't really see a whole lot of that in the Bull or the Lobster Zord either. But he does feature the same kind of gimmicks that all the support Zords do. They all have a motorized spinny thing of some kind. He has this nice rubber wheel here. And so if you move these legs down to make kind of like a drill thing, I guess, the legs will sort of, you know, spin around as it rolls. So that's something. You know, that's kind of neat. Not sure why it does that, but it does. Each one of these also came with a 2.5-inch, 3-inch tall Ranger figure that pegged in right here on the feet. The feet pegged in here and to kind of ride it around. But that's ridiculous. That scale makes no sense. There's no truth in that art, and it's stupid. Plus, the figures were completely immobile, and they kind of sucked. So, you know, don't really care about those. Can't even tell you where they are. So, that's the Octozord. He's kind of swell. Next, I've got the Swordfish Zord. Very cool looking swordfish. Kind of dig the way he looks. His motorized gimmick is a flapping tail fin as he rolls around. That's kind of cool. A little unfortunate that he has this big glaring port hole in the side of him. That kind of sucks. So I wish there was some way to cover that up, like at least a hinge or something. But to be fair, the Japanese version has that too, and this is sort of all just lends into the way that it combines with the other support Zords. So, you know, what are you going to do? Stuff happens. So, you got your Swordfish. He's swell. Next up, you got your Tiger Zord, and he's got a pretty cool look to him too. He seems smaller than the rest of them, but he really isn't. I don't know why. He's got like a weird thing. You will notice the feet are different. These have the 2 claws kind of together, and these have the 4 claws all splayed out, which is how he looks on the show. And also, these are featured in the motorized gimmick as well. So, he has this nice toothed wheel bit here, and as he rolls, the front ones spin around to make like a claw thing for clawing monsters up in their faces. So you know. You're ready for the Tiger Zord. He's neat. And lastly, we have the Beetle Zord. Very cool, bright, vibrant colors. Really neat overall design. The head, a little bit wobbly. Guess what moves when you roll him around? If you said the big head up front, you're absolutely correct. So he spins around, a little drill attack thing. Pretty cool. Overall, real sharp, real nice metallic silver paint. Bright, vibrant orange. Deep blacks. Love that really vibrant green spot on the eye there. Really, really cool. So, those are the Armament Zords that support the Samurai Megazord in its various battles with the crazy monsters whose names I forget. No idea what they're called. But that's those guys. They're pretty neat. And they all combine with the Samurai Megazord in some capacity, and the Octozord even combines with the Claw Megazord. But, of course, they also combine with each other. And this is really where the multi-part, take this, smash it over here style really, really, really comes into play. You saw a little bit of it with the Claw Megazord, but this is where it goes nuts. So many pieces here. So many pieces. So, we'll set the Claw Octozord aside for a minute, and these three are going to combine together to make what they call the Samurai Battle Wing, using the tiger as sort of the focal point. So, pop all the legs off for now. They're going to be rearranged, and then this bit here ends up on the top. This you tore this poor tiger to pieces, and then from there, reposition these legs. I like to do it so that the flat ones end up on the bottom, so it doesn't look quite so obvious that there's some trickery happening. And then take the ones that actually have the four posts and I put them on top. For me, I think I like the way that looks. I appreciate that. So, and then the beetle, take off the little beak part for him, and just take the legs off. That one goes up there. This one goes over here onto the swordfish to create the other wing for flight. And then pull off the flappy tail. And then this all kind of just snaps together. Like that. Take off the tail, and it becomes this crest for this. And like that. The tail pegs on here. And that is the Samurai Battle Wing. This is the only place where you have a disembodied part. There's nowhere for the tiger's head to go here. Kind of makes sense when you see how this combines with the Samurai Megazord, but still, you think there'd be somewhere for this guy to tuck away. You know, maybe somewhere on the bottom or whatever, but there's nowhere. And they got nowhere to go, man. Nowhere to go on a Friday. But the motorized stuff for the beetle still works here, because the wheels are still touching the ground, but there's nothing happening in the middle here for, you know, any kind of cool new thing. But it doesn't really have to, because this is supposed to be like a plane anyway. It's this big, crazy, amazing looking, tacky, horrible plane thing that for some reason really speaks to me as being awesome. I can't help it. Like, this is one of those things that I saw and I was like, yep, this needs to happen. I got to have me this. So that's the Samurai Battle Wing. Not to be undone. Take all this business, turn the other direction. I'm going to take and put these on the opposite side, because you want to clear these little foot pegs out the way. So turn these where these face the front. Now, set that down. And then we got this guy over here, he does a little something now. So, he separates the top, off the head. Sorry, remove the top of the beetle, put it back over here with the rest of the beetle. That is really tight, always has been. So that, we'll just set the crest aside, doesn't really matter. And the squid head pegs in on this weird little hinge spot, little hinge thing there. It goes in this black piece. And so now you have this multi-headed monstrosity. And the rest of the squid base, the squid I should say, becomes the base. Splay this, peg these two bits together. They go in like this, real nice. And then this whole thing becomes the standing, it's the samurai battle cannon, I believe they call it. So the idea is it's supposed to be this big, huge weapon to fire at bad guys. You know, it's the plane with a squid head, only it, you know, now is on a stand, which is cool. And in theory, it's a neat idea. Only problem is it's a little bit short. You put the Samurai Megazord behind it, it's just not quite tall enough. You kind of want that to be resting more pop around chest level, and it's more like crotch level. So, you know, flaming crotch of death. What are you going to do? So, there's that. What are you going to do? So that is the samurai armaments and how they combine together. So, you know, everything has its place. You know, it's kind of a beautiful thing in a way. So it's just nice. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. So, next episode, we're going to take all this stuff, we're going to smash it together with the other Megazords, the Claw Megazord and the Samurai Megazord, see how they work out together. Hit the highlights. Some of them are really awful. We'll hit the highlights, and then we're going to put all this crap together, throw it in a blender, and come out with this ridiculous, pointy Samurai Gigazord. And it's a lot of fun. So come back for that next time. So there you have it. Those are the Samurai Zords. Again, you know, some standouts among them all. Like, you know, the Bull Zord looks pretty rad. Well, Bull Megazord, I should say. The Bull Zord looks stupid. But the Bull Megazord looks cool. Samurai Megazord's awesome. There's some really cool stuff. Some of the little guys by themselves aren't really much to write home about. But when you get them all together, they just look really neat together. The design aesthetic is really cohesive across them all. It's very cool. I dig it. I can see why my kids will love the hell out of it. Hell, it got me back into it after more than a decade off. You know, I bought them all. It's really weird though. There's no monsters for them to fight. There's no big monster. Hell, I don't know if there's any little monsters for that matter. And the monsters look pretty cool on the show from what I gather. So, you know, come back next week. We'll start smashing them together. Pull this apart, stick it over here. Because that's kind of the whole shebang. What set these apart, what made it interesting to me was, you know, stuff just didn't kind of slide in. It was, you know, take this apart, put this over here, you know, make it work together. And that to me was pretty cool. So we'll sort of see how all that works together as fast as possible. Lots of stuff to show. We'll get through as quickly as we possibly can. So yeah, go to PanelsOnPages.com. Check out all the amazing content we have. Every single day there's something new for the inner nerd or the outer nerd in general. You know, that's what we do. On Tuesdays, got nothing going on. Check out the live podcast. We do a live podcast every week, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central at chat.PanelsOnPages.com. You'll get a kick out of that. If you want to subscribe to our newsletter, go to the PanelsOnPages.com. Right over on the right side, which is kind of over in this general area, I would say. You'll see a little address box. Type in your email address, and we'll send you new updates and new content we put up every single week. So, yeah, come back next time, and we'll look at the various combinations for the Samurai Megazords up to the Samurai Gigazord, the big guy. That's pretty rad. So come back next week, next episode. I keep saying next week. It's not really next week. By now we know it's not going to be next week. It'll be like a couple weeks. You know, the other stuff next week. You know how it is. All right, thanks.